Doom and Gloom CGA brought to you by we got some bad news for the community, but before we get to the community, Donald Trump standing on business again. Do you think this is a win? The U.S. and China agrees to slash tariffs for 90 days as trade talks continue. The world's two biggest economies agreed to a temporary rollback of most of their recent levies after negotiating in Switzerland over the weekend. Donald Trump is not playing.
Look at my African-American
all right,
over here.
Standing
Look
on business.
Are you the greatest? You know what I'm talking about?
Out in Hong Kong, the U.S. and China announced a 90-day pause on most of their recent tariffs on each other, fueling hopes on Wall Street of a cool down in the trade war between the world's two largest economic powers. The combined U.S. tariff rate on China's imports will be cut to 30% from 145%, while China's levies on U.S. imports will fall to 10%, down from 125%. This is what the country said on early Monday morning. Officials met in Geneva over the weekend for their first face-to-face talks since President Donald J. Trump 45/47 his shock tariff rollouts on April 2nd, where he imposed 84% duties on Chinese imports, adjusted them to 125% soon afterwards, and hiked them further to 145% a day later. The ninja said, send it. The ninja said, send it on China. And then the new 30% rate is the sum of the 20% duty Trump imposed earlier in his second term over alleged Chinese failures to curb fentanyl flow and the 10% universal tariffs he has applied to nearly all foreign imports. My man Donald J. Trump was like, I'm standing on business. All right, y'all can be scared, but I ain't scared. He said, bitch, you scared. He thought, man, look, he said, I'm not kowtowing to nobody over here. Yeah, we going to feel a little bit of pain at the pump for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. There's always going to be an adjustment. Maybe the grocery store shelves go empty for a day or two, maybe a couple of 3 and 4 days. But he said, I'm standing on business. And China had to back down. They said, well, I see you're serious about this, all right? And they said,
what kind of fuck you give me?
That's what they said there, all right? So shout out to the tariffs there. People said, this is going to be the worst thing ever. All right, they're going to freeze us out. They're going to be out here pulling Birkin bags for $55. All right, Donald Trump said, hell no. And China said,
what kind of fuck you give me?
All right, that's what happens over there. Whew. Goodness gracious. All right, man, he said, you don't have the cards. You don't have the cards. He said, I ain't bluffing. And he kept ratcheting it up, those tariff percentages. And China was like, oh, okay, ninja serious. All right, that's kind of like when you get the belt. All right, nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Woof. It gets hectic on here. All right, more doom and gloom news for the baby boomers, all right? The baby boomers are broke. Apparently, according to Fortune magazine, which I call part of the new world propaganda machine, most baby boomers can't afford assisted living and are weighing on the housing market by staying in their homes, according to the Oracle of Wall Street. This is something that I've warned you about the housing market and why you won't be able to buy a house, because one of the reasons are the baby boomers ain't selling, and they can't sell because they're working. And some of these people are getting laid off. We're going to cover that right here. And it says the baby boomers are collectively sitting on $75 trillion in wealth, and that's not distributed evenly. Meanwhile, many can't even afford to move out or instead must stay in their homes. What did I warn you about? This is another thing that I talked about homes. All right. And listen, buying homes are great, but I always warn you about this. Sometimes you get stuck in them. And this is a prime example. Even when you think you have appreciation, I always say, okay, if you have appreciation, sell the house. Sell it. All right. If you're so rich and home rich, sell your house. Guess what? They can't, because they need a place to live. So soon as they get out of that house, if it's paid off, if it has a low interest rate and they're still paying it off, soon as they sell it, they got to go what? Rent, which will drive up the renting prices or the rental prices, or they got to take that money and buy a new house, or they got to sit on it to take the capital gains tax, or they can sell it to they're not leaving their houses behind for the Gen Xers and the millennials. They're not leaving them behind. They're just sitting on them. They're just sitting on them. And this is what's going to stagnate the housing market. Okay. Many of you guys will never own a home. I'm telling you right now, people are not going to say this. I've been saying this for the better part of 5 years. You're not getting one. We're just in a quagmire. They're just sitting on it. They're sitting on it. And then I even heard many of them are selling their house to their Gen X children and or their millennial children. They're selling them to them. They're not giving them to them. They're not leaving them behind in a will. They're selling them to them. So this is going to create a very, very stagnant housing market for a long time. And these people don't have the money. They don't have the cards. They don't have the cards. New world order. All right. So if anytime I say something, it is basically taking the people that exist today and looking at them forward. We're not talking about the people that already got married 15 years ago or 10 years ago. We're talking
The Money Mindset 2025. Join us if you are looking to elevate your mindset to the next level and get your financial information and game back to where it needs to be. This is the Blue Chip Mindset on steroids. We have 80 plus episodes from the last 2 years that you missed available via playback. You can get all of those episodes. Also, every live stream on Sunday night with all of our great contributors with subjects, cryptocurrency, investment, Money 101, Money 201. Also, if you're looking to become a social media content creator, this is the group for you. 2 times a month, we give you content creator information about how much money you can make via content creation. What are the most popular forms of content creation coming forward in the next few years, and how you can capitalize on an opportunity to be a content creator. Join patreon.com/Coach Greg Adams to find the Money Mindset link. Let's get our Blue Chip Mindset on. The window is still open.
about the people that exist moving forward. Many of you guys are going to be priced out and stuck out in this marketplace because the houses aren't going to move. Even if the interest rates fall, the boomers can't afford to make a move. They can't afford it. Baby boomers are dragging on the housing market because most can't afford to move out of their home. All right. She says many cash-strapped Americans have been borrowing against their home. Yep. And 44% of home equity loans are being taken out by seniors. Ring the fucking bell. I told you this, bruh. They just don't want to listen to me, bruh. You don't want to listen. They're stuck in their house and they're still taking out HELOCs. 44% of HELOCs are taken out by senior citizens. What's next? Reverse mortgage, back to the bank. Okay, ring the bell. All right. Even if your house is paid off, that doesn't mean you are not in this position. All right. You still can't move. The reality is, I'm always saying, all right, the only way you have true equity is to find out if you can sell. If you can sell at a price that you think will make you money, sell. But where are you going to go? That's always the next question. Where are you going to go after you sell? That's what the boomers are leaning on. You might have the house paid off. My house is paid off. You're going to die in that motherfucker. That's where you're going to die. Okay, because soon as you sell it, you got to do what? Got to buy another one. All right, or you got to go ahead and get on a houseboat, get an apartment. All right, you're going to basically sit on that, and you're going to lose a ton of it in capital gains potentially. Right, so a lot of people are really stuck. They don't realize it. So you're going to die in that motherfucker. That's going to be a coffin. That's going to be a coffin. You better have a backup plan. Let's get to the next one out here. Doom and Gloom CGA, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, says the April jobs report shows that black women lost 106,000 jobs last month, the highest rate of unemployment amongst all workers. Woo! Sister. Not only are they reporting it, Black Enterprise is reporting it as well. So we got double source here. New this is the latest figure shows that joblessness for black women surged by 106,000 jobs last month. The new eye-popping data shows what is not often cited in the national's labor force. It says fresh numbers reveal the unemployment for black workers this year is steadily rising, especially for black women. And
I'm in a bind, Nate.
the buying season is here.
Your rent's due, motherfucker.
The buying season is here. Fixes Buys LLC will always be here. And it says black unemployment rose 6.1% in April, a full percentage point surge from March. In contrast, the unemployment rate for white women
Where the white women at?
is 3.3%, unchanged from March, and 4.6% for Hispanic, the same as in March. Women and other groups generally do not face racial or gender discrimination like black women, a factor in the jobless rate discrepancy. All right, that's what they say.
New world order.
But the buying season is here, and of course, these were all the jobs. I mean, listen, between the student loan thing and now we have the rising unemployment rates of the sisters. Well, the community is going to be on life support. It's dead already. The community is already dead. These were all the jobs. Most of these jobs are government sector jobs. Okay. I believe 65% of black women have government sector jobs, which many of these are social services and welfare jobs. All right. Much of them don't count on the degree status and these things that they've been telling you you're a loser about. I've been saying that this is going to be an effect, not just for black women, but women in general. Most of these jobs that they have are the first to go. They're the first to get cut. Okay.
Now I got to cut you.
Essential workers, non-essential workers. These are the first jobs that are going to get cut. And these are the first people that are going to be on the chopping block, because many of these jobs are not very challenging jobs. They may be mentally fatiguing, but they're not very challenging. And when they thin out the herd, they thin out the herd. Now, this one blames DEI as well. All right. It says experts link this troubling spike to anti-DEI policies, which federal job cuts and hiring discrimination, especially under the Trump-aligned initiatives. Sectors like retail, hospitality, and the federal government, where black women are often employed, are seeing workforce reductions. Yep, so there it is right there. Retail, hospitality, federal government. 65% of black women that have jobs are with the federal government or in that sector. Okay, so once DEI and Doge gets a hold of them jobs is gone. All right, just that fast.
Now I got to cut
Federal
you.
jobs fell by 9,000 in April, totaling a loss of 26,000 since January. But economists warn that BWs are disproportionately affected, facing barriers to finding work as opportunities shrink. As a result, many are turning to entrepreneurship, or they're also turning to this.
When I start selling pussy, I don't want to hear it.
And it says right here, and they're turning to entrepreneurship to create income and gain career control. How about those careers?
So I could focus on my
All right,
career.
continuing a trend of business ownership as a response to job insecurity. I've seen this in real life. Unfortunately, when people like this get laid off, they try to shift over to entrepreneurship, but you can't really make a quick shift. It's going to take time. So what they'll do is they'll take some courses and they're like, oh, I'm going to start this. But whatever they're shifting to in the entrepreneurial game, it's like 5-10 years behind. Like they're 5-10 years behind already to make up the ground. when in fact, if they would have started this when they had the job, they would have been able to be ahead. But I typically find that these workers typically work themselves to death for their government zaddy and their corporate zaddy. So they don't make time to do a second entrepreneur job. And so they'll end up driving Uber, all right, because they think they're just going to shift over to entrepreneur and be good. Nah, brothers, man, listen, when you shift over to entrepreneur, you're going to eat plates and plates of shit for 2 years. It's going to be a difficult adjustment. And they won't be able to have the advanced money, because they take a severance and the money's gone within months. Okay, so I find the entrepreneurial game they'll try to get in, they're already 5 years down the line. It's kind of like what they'll do is they'll go, hey, I'm going to do drop shipping. They'll do some shit like that. And it's typically going to be age women, 35 to 70. And they're like, oh, I heard about this drop shipping. And they'll take a drop shipping course. And you're like, bruh, you way behind the 8 ball on drop shipping. All right, whoever's telling you guys to do this and scramble up, because they get their little groups of people that they'll get together. Oh, I heard about that. I heard I saw a YouTube video and somebody made a lot of money. I saw a TikTok video and they made a lot of money in drop shipping, and they'll try to do drop shipping. And you're like, what the fuck? And you're like, bro, you way behind. That's old. That's old hat. All right. And I wonder why they don't start this while they're doing their job. But they have their jobs, and then they're like, I have a job. You know what I mean? Like, the job ain't gonna go away. You're like, the job's gonna go away at some particular point, and you're gonna be cooked. And we're seeing the cooking going on like hot bacon right now. They're getting grilled. All right. The dedication to these jobs and these careers is not very steady income at all. But that's doom and gloom CGA.